Hey everyone, I'm Emeka here for my self-published blueprint, and today I'm sitting down with one of our students, Ollie, and Ollie has been making consistently over $10,000 a month, $13,000 last month alone, from not just Kindle publishing, but CreateSpace and some other platforms that he's on as well. So this is really, really cool. We're going to do this interview in two different ways and really help you get the tips that you need so you can scale your business as well. So Ollie, welcome to the channel, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So where are you right now, man? Because it looks like you're in some sort of shady little apartment making all this money. This ain't adding up. Where's the Ferrari? Where's the penthouse?
The Ferrari's on back order,
okay.
And then the Tesla's coming after that. So right now I'm in Vietnam, just hanging out in Ho Chi Minh City, and probably move back to Thailand in a few months. Who knows?
And where are you originally from? The UK?
I'm from the UK originally.
And are you just traveling right now? I don't actually know what you're doing all over the world. Are you just kind of traveling from place to place right now? What's bring me up to speed?
I'm just moving around while building the business. So I tend to stay in one place for maybe 3-6 months at a time, work on the Kindle business, and then go somewhere else because I get bored. It's pretty much it.
Nice. What's your favorite place that you've stayed for a few months so far?
Oh, I love Thailand. Like, I love Bangkok. I love Chiang Mai. There's a lot of people with similar mindsets out there, especially in Chiang Mai. There's a big online business community, big digital nomad community.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Huge amounts of hustlers.
Nice, man. No, that's fantastic. Like we were talking the other day, one of my goals is to go live in Italy for a few months with the family and everything. And hey, the Kindle business, the whole online thing is getting us closer and closer to that every single day. So cool, man. So I got some notes here. I want to really know what your story is, getting started with publishing, how you kind of, why you decided to choose Kindle publishing as your main source of income. And we'll go through the different stages. I got your dashboards. We'll be throwing them up through as we talk about each stage, so people can just kind of see and see the progression that you made over the last little bit. So that sound good, man?
Sure.
Cool. So start us. I think you started publishing, was it August of last year?
Yeah, August 2017 is when I put out my first book following what you teach in the course. So the keyword method. I had a couple of books before that, but they were literally just ones that I wrote for the sake of writing a book, and they are bad.
So walk us through your first few months. How long did it take you to make your first $1,000 with Kindle publishing?
First $1,000 was, August I made $23.
Okay.
And then the month after that I made about $600, and then the month after that was $2,000. So probably 60 days.
So within your first 60 days or so, you made your first $1,000 after taking the course.
Yeah.
And then what were, how many books did you have out?
For that first $1,000, I want to say that was 6 books.
6 books. So that's not too shabby at all.
No, it was the 4th book that really started, things started working, things started taking off.
So let's talk a bit about that book. What were some things that started happening that you kind of figured out, or what clicked? Why was that 4th book kind of the one that propelled everything else?
The 4th book is the one that worked because it was actually different. The ones I put out before that, they were just the same as the other 10, 20 or 100 books in that niche or in that keyword.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually differentiating and actually having a unique book that stands out, especially if customers, they're on the Amazon screen, they search the keyword, they see 50 beginner's guides.
Right.
if you're different, then like you're going to stand out. And like, that's what happened. And I started realizing like, so this is what works.
So I shouldn't have beginner's guide in any of my beginner's guides.
If there's already 100 beginner's guides, don't be the 101st.
That's a great tip right there. I bet so many people are watching this. They're like, I'm doing that, right? It's the cookie cutter books. So, okay, cool, man. So your fourth book, it was funny. It was my fourth book that kind of turned it around for me. Can we just talk for a minute to the people who only have 1, 2, or 3 books? They're not working right now. They're still struggling. They're still trying to figure things out. How were you feeling after book 1, 2, and 3 weren't really working? Like mentally, I'm talking about. Like, did you think about giving up?
Mentally, it's just the whole like, why did I fail at this? Like, I'm awful. Like, I'm never going to succeed at online business.
Ouch.
You know, the snowball thing, it just gets going.
Yeah.
But if you're at that stage now, like, just don't be afraid to make the mistakes. Like, you just got to follow the process, and you have to make those mistakes, and you have to learn from those mistakes yourself.
So just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep going, because eventually things fall into place and things do click.
Right. I always tell people, it's like you publish a book, boom, you get a hit. Publish a book, boom, you get another hit. But as you keep publishing books, that's the only way you learn this business.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. It's you'll get nuggets from videos and stuff like that, or taking a course, but it's action that is what's going to show you how to get better every single book, right?
Oh yeah, it's always movement over meditation every time.
So, okay. So you said $2,000. You hit about $2,000 with 4 books out now. And then what about let's talk about the mid-level. So how long did it take you to go from like 2 to 5, 6 grand? What happened over the next few months?
So October was, sorry, I'm just trying to get my
Good. I was kind of lost too in the months. I was like, wait, so we started in August. Okay. So where are we at now in timeline?
October was 2,000. November was 3,500.
Okay. And we'll have these dashboards up so you can kind of keep track with us.
Yeah. And then December was 8,500.
Okay. So November to December, what happened? Was it just Christmas, or did you make some changes?
Christmas was a big part of it. Like, there is definitely the seasonality thing, especially with paperback books. Like, people do buy books as gifts still. I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe, but it does happen. Big time. But a lot of it then was just realizing that you can go into bigger niches. Mm-hmm. If you have a book from a different angle with a different appeal, you can go into these bigger niches and you can still make money. You can still stand out. Because I think a lot of people, when they start out, they think, okay, this niche is too big. This niche is too, quote unquote, saturated. Right. Like, I can't do anything in here. But like, you can. You just have to publish a book that actually stands out. You have to publish something different. I love that, man, because, everyone takes, like, they kind of learn, there's only so many ways you can really do this business, right? Like, find the keywords, get the book published, get the cover and all that. But it's those little things that you do to differentiate yourself in the marketplace that makes the difference. That's exactly what it is. Like, especially because you see a lot of videos, people talk about like, okay, don't go into weight loss, don't go into make money online, don't go into self-help. Well, what if you've discarded those 3 niches? You haven't got much left. No, you're right. And you know what? Hey, some of my videos are exactly that. Like, I say for new publishers, just don't do a book on self-help, because it's probably going to get lost. But if you tackle it from a different point of view, I guess really if you just niche down, is that what you're saying? Like, just find that specific area you want to focus on and tackle it from there? Like, just even if it's a big niche, like there are so many tiny little subsections of that niche, and there are people in those subsections crying out for help.
Right.
Like they need their problem solved, and they probably don't want a beginner's guide.
That makes so much sense, man. Don't do beginner's guide. Do more advanced guides.
I mean, you can be the first. You can be the first beginner's guide. That's fine. Just
Right.
don't be the 50th.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a ton of sense right there, man. Just because so many people, they start off with that beginner's guide to whatever. Why not just your expert's guide or your advanced guide to this if you're getting into a niche like I don't know, like diets, something like that, right? It's a great point. What mindset, what happened after the 2000 to the 8000 mindset, confidence? Where were you?
So the first thing was, it was the opposite of confidence. It was, how did I get so lucky?
Right.
Like it was. There's like a gap between believing you can do something consistently and just thinking, oh, I got lucky. Like I must be a fraud.
Yeah.
Like I was just trying to work out, like, okay, like are there things that I'm doing consistently here? And in hindsight, the answer was definitely yes. But at the time, I was like, okay, I just got lucky with that book, and I just got lucky with that book, and I just got lucky with that book. You can only get lucky so many times before you realize there's actually a pattern.
I love that, man. And it's funny. Let's bring that up. I think when you had one of your first $10,000 months, I reached out to you. It's like, hey, man, let's do an interview, and you said no. And I was like, okay, no, it's totally cool, man. Like, I think most of our high end earners inside my self publishing blueprint, but they don't have time to sit down and talk with me. They're busy building the business, right? So, I thought nothing of it. But it was funny when you mentioned, you're like, I didn't think I was. What is you just didn't have the confidence, or you just?
It was pretty much like let me prove this to myself that I can do this again, and it wasn't just a one-off.
Right. And it makes so much sense, man. It's hey, and I went through that same thing when I made my first $1,000 month. I was like, that's cool. Can I do it again? And I did it again, and eventually my confidence started, increasing. I think that's with anything. That's just how we are as humans. So let's go past Christmas. Okay, now lots of people say January is a slow month. I strongly disagree with that.
January.
How is January, February for you, my friend?
January is when I passed 10K, so I hit 11K in January.
Okay.
Because there's a huge like residual effect in January from Christmas. Like, number one, like everyone's getting Amazon gift cards.
Yeah.
Or like in the US, you can like buy Kindle books as gifts. So a lot of people physically get Kindles as gifts.
Yeah.
So straight away, December 25th, like they're on the Kindle store, they're looking for books. And that pattern continues throughout the whole of January. So like I made a ton just on Kindle in January, actually. Like
just on the ebooks itself, huh?
Just on the ebooks. But then you have the residual effects from December. So you get the large like expanded distribution in January as well.
Yep.
So like towards the back end of January, there were days where I'd make like $500, $600, $700 on CreateSpace in a day.
Can you explain to anybody who might not know what expanded distribution is? Can you just quickly explain what that is?
So expanded distribution is when you're selling books on CreateSpace, Amazon also has the right to sell those books to retail stores like Barnes & Noble. I'm drawing a blank on all the other big bookstores, but basically your books can go into those big retail stores. Mm-hmm. And that's what expanded distribution is. Instead of selling one copy at a time, you'll sell 50 copies to a big book retailer, for example.
At a reduced, they're able to get it at like, if you normally sell it for like $15, they buy it for $5 or something like that, right? Like they get it at a cost. So you're paid a little differently, but they're buying such a large amount. It makes a big difference in your income. That is why, we always try to tell people, don't waste your time with KDP paperback. You're missing out.
I
right?
still don't know how KDP paperback works.
I don't know why people bother with that. They're just missing the big point of crate space.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Right. Okay. So you had your first $10,000 month. Now, what are you thinking? How, like, shift in mindset? What's going on? Or $11,000 month? What happened?
This is when I started really like looking back at patterns in my most successful books
Okay.
and seeing like, okay, this worked because I did this. And then, because obviously at the time, like I still published books that didn't make a lot of money
Right.
because there's still a certain element of randomness to Amazon, but there's patterns you can identify. So I went back, looked at the patterns that worked for the successful books,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, okay, how do I replicate this? Not just for similar books in that niche. How do I replicate this for books in other niches as well?
And then, so February, how did February and March? Oh, you just came
February
off of
was,
March. Go ahead.
I hate February. It's just got too few days.
I remember your post in I think it was in our free Facebook group. The thing that you hate about February was you get paid less because there's only 28 days in it.
Only 28 days. So February had a drop off. I made 6,500 in February.
Okay.
And then in March, I broke the record again. Not the record, broke my record.
Your personal record. Okay.
My personal record, and I hit over $13,000 once ACX comes in, because ACX is delayed by a month. So once that comes in, I'll have the final figure, but it'll be around 13,100.
$13,000. So that's cool, man. So congratulations on that. That's super exciting. And all right. So that's where we're at right now. How's your, I guess, you've had your first few 10,000 plus months, lifestyle change. Have you treated yourself? Have you had a chance to have a little fun? Like,
you say this apartment isn't fun. It's definitely like,
you're just reinvesting.
It's just the freedom part of it all. Like, over the next few months, like I'll be going to Eastern Europe. I'm going to the World Cup in Russia, and like publishing is going to cover all of that. Like, I don't have to really worry about like staying in expensive hotels or like, am I spending too much on food today? Because I know publishing is going to cover that whole income.
It's awesome.
Like, that's the big thing for me. Like, having a Ferrari in Vietnam is going to be very, very.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
The traffic is it's not Ferrari friendly.
So that freedom is like that most important thing for you, right?
Absolutely. Like the ability to live where I want.
Yes.
Like the ability to just like run my life on my terms. That's the biggest part of it.
Absolutely, man. And that's the thing that I've been so passionate about. I'm just so happy to hear that it's, you've been able to get that accomplished, and you're starting to accomplish more and more of that. Because that's my motivating factor as well for me. Like we were talking the other day, taking the family to Italy and just being able to, we don't worry about the school. We homeschool the kids, and wife doesn't have to work, and I'm online. So I just need, Wi-Fi connection. Freedom is something more people should go after as aggressively as possible and escape that 9 to 5 rat race, because 9 to 5 is not how you're supposed to live your life. You should not, under any circumstances, spend more time with your work colleagues than your family in your lifetime. If you are, that's straight up retarded. It's backwards. Just, so
you're bringing back memories now.
Yeah, man. I can't. And the society's like, oh yeah, it's normal to spend more time with your work colleagues than your family. How is that normal? How is that okay? That's almost as dumb. I don't know what's dumber. College scams and their tuition prices, or the fact society says it's okay to spend more time with your work friends than your family. No wonder so many people have marriages fall apart. You're spending more time with your secretaries than your own wife, or vice versa. Yeah. So, anyways, we're getting off topic.
Now we'll do a 2-hour video on
yeah.
college.
All right, man. That's so cool. So, you know what? The let's end part one here, okay? Because we talked about how you scaled up, but in part two, there'll be a link in the description once it's out. For part two, we're going to talk about what were the specific strategies, techniques, things that you noticed things that you noticed with your books that didn't work as well, and then things that you noticed with your books that really started picking up steam that increased your income. What were the things that you were doing specifically with those books that allowed you to scale up your income to over $13,000 a month? All right, so for part two, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video. And if you got questions for this guy right here, the best place to connect with him is inside the Facebook group that you get with my self-publishing blueprint. Or I guess you're kind of in that free one as well, aren't you?
I am in the free one as well.
You are in the free one. You always have some cool comments on there. So I always love when you comment something because it's right up my alley. And so
I just like telling people to do things the right way.
You're just trying to help people, man. You're definitely one of the most helpful individuals we have. I can't stand it.
Guys, don't do Fiverr promos.
Oh my God.
Don't do Fiverr promos for your books.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And be sure to check out part two coming up soon.